field, and kind of when his resurgence, or kind of when his hot streak started at the plate, is when the offense kind of exploded, and they've continued that over the course of the last 4 or 5 weeks. Stephen Milam, I think it's your first time on the show, huh?
It is, first time.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Great lettuce. He said he has to redo it. It looks good. I can never pull that off.
It'll get redone. So.
Yeah. People think I dye my hair black. I do not.
Yeah, he does.
I think you do.
See, everybody, I do not. I do not dye it. This is all natural. No gray hairs. No dyeing. Not just for him. Just straight black. It's okay.
Jared.
Easy over there. Okay. We talked a little bit off air last year. Obviously, y'all didn't get off to the start that y'all wanted to in SEC play. Different team, different structure of the team, different feel of this team. But you played, the first weekend is at home, albeit against Missouri. Obviously, last year y'all played against the top 4 teams in the SEC to start the season. But how important was it for y'all to get off to a really good start in the SEC and kind of continue to do those things that you did in non-conference play in the opening weekend of SEC?
I mean, I think it's good. I feel like we got challenged in Texas when we played in Frisco. You got K-State, Nebraska. We had to come back in all of those games, and we ended up winning, so it was big for us, and we kept that momentum going all the way until now, where we swept Missouri. Had a close-ish game on Saturday, and that's just kind of our deal, is being good at close games, and that's what Coach Johnson wanted us to do this year, and I feel like we've been really good at that. And I don't know how many comeback wins we've already had, but that's way more than we did last year.
Before we really get into the offensive side of it, and before we get into the stuff about you talk about close games. One of the guys that has been kind of pivotal for y'all in the close games is a freshman, Cas Evans, right? Came in, and this was the first game of the season where you felt like there was that home crowd energy. I think there was almost 12,000 people.
Taking leaps and bounds, I feel like, and he's just so mature for being a freshman. He knows what works for him, and he knows what doesn't, and he's not scared to go out there and
Did you see that early?
Face those challenges. Did I see it? I did. He was actually a hitter. He was taking ground balls with me when he first got here.
Oh, so he was supposed to do both?
He did. He was supposed to do both, and I saw him get on the mound, and he blew me up with one. He's the fastest to the plate I've seen.
Really?
And he blew me up with one heater, and I was like, yeah, you might need to just hit the pitch.
Let's stay on the bump, kid.
Yeah, he blew me up a couple times, but he's been lights out for us, and I hope he keeps going.
Jay, you got something?
Man, yeah, I got something for you. But so obviously, just a little bit of a slow start for you personally. I got a 2-point question for you. One, is there anything that you specifically changed that kind of got you going? And obviously, you've been rolling and been feeling really well last few weeks, last more than few weeks, obviously. And then the next thing is, there's the 12-year-old you looking up to an Alex Bregman, now pinch yourself being the next guy from New Mexico playing shortstop at LSU. How do you feel about that today?
I would say me not getting going a little late. It's kind of just getting back to the basics and figuring out what was going on, and kind of just realizing it's just.
I can't hear shit.
Let me get closer.
It's not you.
It's me.
Lloyd's messing with the volume. It's okay.
You good?
I think it's Lloyd. Tell Lloyd. Yeah, Lloyd.
Got it.
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. Yeah, I think it was kind of just finding my swing again. I was out for a little while. Got some at bats in the spring, and kind of had to figure it out a little bit, figure out my swing, and figure out what was working, and broke down video from last year and kind of just copied and pasted it and tried to remember who I was, and just remember that it was just baseball, and that's kind of what just keeps me going right now. Just baseball and not putting too much pressure on yourself and just doing what you can do out there.
I want to expound on that a little bit. So you talk about looking at film of last year, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously, everybody knows the story. You came in the fall, you didn't have a great fall, to the point where you thought about maybe I should transfer somewhere else. Which, I get that. Everybody's been in that situation, and then all of a sudden, season starts, and it clicks, and you start balling, and then you go through. And we talk about it a lot on the show, right? Because Jared and I both did the same thing. We both played as freshmen. There's always these, hey, you play really well, and you get to the SEC, and then they figure you out, and then you got to make the adjustment back, right? You went through that. You played really well pre-conference. Last year, conference started. They kind of made an adjustment. and you quickly adjusted to them. And then the back half of SEC and through postseason, you hit this extra. There's this other level, right? You start hitting homers, started driving the ball to the ballpark, and you started hitting for a high average. What went into that adjustment? Is it just you getting comfortable with the guys that what they were doing to you, or is it you just kind of making a tweak in your swing?
I would say kind of both. Kind of getting more comfortable in the box and being in those environments too, and getting used to that pitching. And then obviously, I watch film of what guys can do and can't do, and that's kind of a big thing for me. Like if they can't land a certain pitch, then you kind of can eliminate that.
Yeah.
And just being confident. I mean, Tom was there last year with me, and I kind of learned a lot from him, just in doing what he does, and it's taking whatever you get, and that's kind of what I did. And if you line out, I mean, it happens, but
right.
you still put a good swing on the ball.
Yeah, and then coming into this year, right? At least all of us, and we're all now. I guess you can call us media, so to say.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want to say we're media, but like
can't get the Champions Club. I know that.
Watching it right from last year and watching what you did towards the back half and started hit homers righty lefty, and your swing looked different at the end of the year than it did at the beginning of the year in a good way, right? Like you felt like you were comfortable, felt like you were driving the ball. You talked before the show about getting loft, creating some loft in your swing. So this year, I think everybody expected, okay, wow, he hit 8 home. I think it was 8 home runs last year. He's a double-digit homer guy. He's got a lot of juice, or he showed he's got some juice, and then you start off a little slow and you get hot. And now all of a sudden the homers are happening, the doubles are happening. What is something as a hitter on your side that you focus on to be able to create that lift, to be able to drive those balls in the gap and be able to create some of those extra base hits?
The biggest thing for me is just being disciplined and staying with the pitches that I can handle, and sticking to my plan and my approach, and that's kind of the biggest thing for me. I feel like the swing will always take care of itself, but you got to swing at good pitches, and that's the biggest thing for me. Like whenever I first got into SEC last year, I was swinging at almost everything, and I normally don't. I don't strike out a lot. I don't swing and miss a lot, and it kind of like threw me in a whirlwind, and I kind of had to go back to step one and rebuild from there, and that's kind of what I did. And I got comfortable with my swing. I got my leg kick back and everything, and it's just more comfortable, and that's just who I am now. And
is your leg kick more of a timing mechanism, or to kind of generate some pop?
It's a little bit of both, I would say. It has both with it, and that's kind of just how I've always hit, and I feel like I can control it enough and use it to my advantage.
Jay.
Yeah, listening to you, like as a young hitter, I think that's super important to understand for who you are, wherever you are in your swing. When everything's kind of going to shit, like for you, where's the spot where you're like, all right, boom, let me get back to this. Here's my basics. If I get back to this, I know I can start to find my swing again. What is that spot for you?
I say hitting off the tee. I hit off the tee a lot before I hit, and then I have like this flat bat, and I hit like a punching bag just to get like my point of contact down, just staying tight. And those are kind of just the basics that I do every day of just my swing, and just build off of that. And you kind of have different feels for different days, and different things you want to work on. So it's kind of just whatever is going on through the week. That's what I kind of feel, and I just always try to hit just line drives right back up the middle.
Jay talked about you a lot in terms of like your work ethic and like you being in the cage a ton. Is that something that like you felt immediately? Was it, whether it be your freshman year, sophomore year, wherever you are now, like was that something that you felt like he noticed, or is it something that you've always done?
I mean, it's kind of something I've always done.
Yeah.
I mean, I come from Las Cruces, New Mexico. Like I guarantee 95% of people don't even know where that's at. So I mean, me and my dad put in a lot of hours in there, and that's just who I am, and that's kind of what we've built out of it, and that's what's got me here.
They talked to you, the question this offseason or coming into the year was who's going to play short. And then when Jay said you were going to play short, people were questioning, oh, does he have the arm? Can you do this? Can you do that? So we're talking to you off the air and be like, hey, well, were you a second baseman? You said, no, I never played second base until last year, which everybody thought you were a natural second baseman because of how well you performed. And then obviously you play shortstop, which you've done your entire life. And you've been outstanding, right? Making plays left, right. The arm strength, obviously not an issue. how much more comfortable, I guess, is it for you to go back to a position that you have grown up playing, you understand playing, and did you hear some of that noise leading up into the year?
Oh, it's so much more comfortable over there. Like, it's night and day to me. Like, that's something I love. Like, I take pride in playing defense and playing shortstop at LSU. That's like I have a picture on my phone like of shortstop U, and it's like LSU with Bregman and LeMahieu and Josh Smith and Kramer and all those guys. So it's like something I've always dreamed of, and you got to take pride in that because the guys that came before you. But it's been a lot easier for me playing short than it was second. Just learning the angles at second last year, the shifts, the positioning, the arm angles. It was, I wouldn't say it was like super crazy hard, but it was difficult for sure.
Did you grow up watching? Was Bregman a guy that you? Because he's from New Mexico, right? Albuquerque. Was it a guy that you looked up and you said, "Damn"? Like that's kind of is that kind of what put LSU on the map for you, or is it just?
Yeah, my hitting coach my whole life he actually told me about LSU, and I kind of looked into it a little bit, and then got told you'd never be at LSU and all that stuff, and then I saw Bregman make that play up the middle, and I was like, that's where I wanted to go.
Yeah.
Brother, you put one on Mount Rushmore. That between you and Dickinson, that was nasty work.
That was a good play.
Yeah,
we want to get some more this year. But I told Coach Johnson no at Arizona, and ended up committing here to Maneri, and stayed here since. But I would say I did. I heard the noise.
Yeah.
I heard the chatter of everybody. Like, can you do it? Like, but I've been questioned my whole life, so it's kind of nothing new to me. I kind of like hearing it. It's like another thing I can go prove people wrong.
Yeah, no doubt. Yep, Jay, go.
Yeah, I got a question for you, and I think Mikie could attest and he would agree with something like this, because I've always kind of wanted to know from guys who are hitting today, compared to like me and Mikie. It wasn't that long ago that we weren't playing. It feels like a long time, but it wasn't that long. But back when we were playing, if you were anywhere from like 93 to 96, and you could land 2 other pitches, we already knew, like, hey, strap in, like, it's going to be a pretty tough day today.
Yeah.
What's the number right now where you're like, all right, fastball's pretty firm, strap in if he can land 2 other pitches today? Like, where's that sit at for pretty much most of the hitters today?
I would say anything like 96, 97 up with some ride, or like, I know we faced Cortez last year from A&M. He was throwing 100-mile-an-hour sinkers at us on a Sunday game. But I would say probably like 96 with 3 pitches that he can land. And, we just try and do what you can get.
So 6 is the new 3 today, basically.
Probably 96, 97, almost the new 93, 94.
Wow. That's wow. I guess expected that, because we didn't stop playing that long ago. I stopped 21 was my last year, and you can start seeing fastball velocity with ride. That's what everybody's trying to do, and it was and even then it was like, okay, 95, 97, no big deal. 98 plus, all right. Now you gotta start figuring stuff. But in college, it's a whole different animal, because you're not used to seeing that. But now everybody's throwing hard. Tennessee's got 2 guys that are throwing 100 right now.
Get them out early. Get the bullpen.
Exactly. Lloyd talked about the play that you and Dickinson made, right? We've talked about the move from second to short. How important is that chemistry between the middle infielders, right? Because y'all haven't played together for all that long, and that's a play that usually a shortstop and a second baseman make whenever they've been doing it for a long time. Y'all haven't. It just kind of happened. How important is that chemistry together?
I would say the chemistry is massive, especially up the middle. We kind of just mess around during BP, and he'll take ground balls up the middle at shortstop.
Yeah.
Or like me, Braz, and him will be loaded up over there, just taking ground balls during BP while they're hitting during our rounds. And the ground ball is hit, and I was like, flip it, like I'm here.
Did you say it?
Yeah, and he flipped it, and I was like, we made that play, and then he watched it back on video, and I was like, damn, that was a sick ass play.
It was smooth.
Yeah, it was a cool play.
It was smooth.
No, because as my limited experience of playing baseball, I did play like middle infield, so I knew that's like one of those that like you do whenever people are hitting ground balls. You're like, flip it. Like you start getting that camaraderie and chemistry where like you feel comfortable enough, because it feels like to me, you'll have 3 shortstops, like between you, Brazzi, and Dickinson. Like you'll all feel comfortable enough to be that good at the spot to where like probably the best infield in the country.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, we don't make too many errors, and we make the outs we can make, and I mean, even to play like I flipped the one to him yesterday, like for him to stay on the bag, like that's just a big play in the game.
Well, and people talk about, when Trey Morgan left a couple of years ago, people talked about first base going to be an issue. Bear Jones has been amazing at first.
Yeah, he can
I feel like
anything.
I feel like he gets overlooked over there on how good he actually is defensively. Right, everybody talks about how good offensively he is, but how good he's been defensively, it's got to be pretty important. Knowing that y'all can throw the ball wherever, and he's probably going to.
He's got a big target.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got great feet, and he picks whatever, and he's always talking, always a good communicator on defense, and I feel like we got a very veteran infield this year, and that's big for experience and stuff in the SEC.
You talk about the vets, right? Mm-hmm. That's important, but it's also important to have some of these young guys. We already talked about Cas Evans. We've but you've had some other guys that have come in that have made a big impact. Obviously, Curiel has been one of those guys, top of the lineup. He has been lights out since he's been in the lineup, or since he's gotten LSU. How important has the contributions been, not only from him, not only from Cas Evans, but from Maverick Rizzi, from William Schmidt? Because you were one of those guys last year, right? Like, the veterans are great, but you build a team with some freshmen that kind of grow into it. How important has that been?
Oh, it's massive. I mean, to get the production out of those guys, I would say you don't gotta put so much stress on, like Bear, me, Dickinson. Like you don't have that stress. I mean, they kind of take a little bit off of you. It takes less stress off of our bullpen. Having those guys show up, and we don't got Gavin Guidry, and you can run Rizzi out there, you can run Cowan out there, you can run Case out there, and you're just like, okay, you're perfectly fine without him almost. But I mean, to get Guidry back, that's a big thing for us.
Yeah. Do you know? I mean, obviously,
Jay
came out and said, I don't know.
I really don't have no idea how long he's out, but the presence in the freshman classes, I mean, it's insane. I thought we had a good freshman class last year, and then you're like, oh my God, this class is even better.
Jay, you got one?
Yeah, man. So looking around the league, obviously you guys are as dialed into the program of taking each day by day, but I know, you get a chance to maybe at the end of the day, maybe at the end of the series, maybe at the end of the week. You look up and you look around and you see what's going on with 4 sweeps going on in the conference right now. Are you surprised by that that's how this kind of thing has started off in the league right now? And what do you expect, I guess, going forward?
I mean, I expect the unexpected with this league. Like, anything can happen. Like last year, we, beat A&M. I mean, literally anything can happen. You can be up 10 runs, you can be up 8 runs, how South Carolina was on us, and you ended up losing the game. Like, it's just staying literally game by game. That's how we have to be, and that's how I kind of keep it. I mean, you look up at the other scores, and you're like, okay, but, until we face those teams, you can't really look too far ahead. You can just only stay where your feet are at.
Lloyd, you got something?
Yeah, I do, because you mentioned like some of the young guys and everything that's happened. Like, how important was it now to be able to get that experience early on? Whenever it felt like y'all went through a ton of like bumps in the road, I guess you could say. Whenever you were kind of thrust into whether it be the rotation or the lineup, and now it feels like y'all are almost veterans. Like between you, Bear Jones, Larson, especially the freshman class, and you talk about this freshman class. Like, how important was that last year to be able to get to where y'all are this year?
It's massive. I would say we got challenged. We got criticized. I mean, everything. Everybody wanted us to throw in the towel, and we fought back and kind of showed up and had to figure a way out. So I would say that's big for all of us. I mean, that whole team, everybody that came back this year kind of knows what it felt like, and that's kind of what we told our team going into this year. Like, that's not going to happen. Like, totally new dynamic, new everything, and way closer, and just know how to play baseball together.
How close was Bear Jones to going pro? Were you surprised to see that?
That's not for him to say.
I was pretty surprised he came back. He called me like 2 or 3 days after. He's like, "Hey, you got a room in your house?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's go then." But I was pretty surprised.
Yeah, it's been obviously we were all shocked, but I feel like him coming back and what he's done this year, he's a completely different hitter, right? Like, you already know the pop's there. He can hit a homer. He can get jammed and hit an oppo homer. Right? It's just kind of how strong he is. But I think what he's done this year is He understands the strike zone even more than he did last year. He's walking a ton. He's not chasing. He's not forcing stuff. And I think that's a credit to Dickinson, you, and the guys behind him who have really stepped up. And Pearson, that have really stepped up and started, driving the ball to the ballpark.
Yeah.
And Sawyer says, he didn't have to do it. You walk me, I'm going to get driven in.
Yeah.
Do you feel that?
I do. I feel like our lineup's way deeper, and, we know our identity this year in our lineup, I would say. We don't got to rely on the long ball. We can beat you in 15 different ways if we have to. I mean,
right.
Brad's suicide squeeze twice to get 2 runs in and then hit an RBI single, the line drive. So, I mean, you kind of look up at the scoreboard and you're like, that's 3-0 on, one hit. Yeah. Right. And then, Barry can drive the ball out of the yard. Then, Josh hits a grand slam, and then you got to deal with me. So, I mean.
Hey, y'all got some little dudes, some juice.
Yeah, we do.
You and Pearson. I mean, and Pearson's homers haven't been cheap. Mm-hmm. I mean, yours haven't either, but
he gets all of them.
Yeah, he gets all of it.
Hey, did y'all hear that? I respect the shit out of that. He's like, and you got to deal with me, so it is what it is.
No doubt.
Yeah, I mean.
Hey, I got a question though. Really, man, what, if anything, what have you been able to give the first timers and or the young guys coming into this league this year? Because obviously, you get guys coming in, they want to know what it's like. They want to know what it's like playing in this league. They want to know what it's like playing in Alex Box. What have you been able to give them from your experiences from last year to kind of prepare them to go into the year this year?
I would say it's a gauntlet. I mean, just expect the unexpected and, keep your head up. It's a roller coaster of a season.
Marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah, you can't get too high. You can't get too low. Just finding that right place for you, and I would say just keep working. I mean, it's a game of adjustments, and that's the biggest thing, especially on the position player side. You're always making adjustments, hitting, always working on something, trying to get better, trying to get the advantage, and our coaches do a good job of that blueprint for the young guys coming in. But I learned a lot from Tommy and them, just how do you say it, whatever they give you to hit, that's what you hit. You can't just be searching up there for one pitch, one spot like that. And that's kind of what I've told a couple of them that aren't playing right now, but whenever they get their shot, they obviously get going.
Let me ask you this. Early in the show, right, we asked you about your approach at the plate. You talked about, as a freshman, being able to eliminate some of a pitch, right? Like, hey, I watched video we'd scouted. This guy has 3 pitches, but he's really only a 2-pitch guy. That's kind of how he approaches hitters like me. That's a very advanced approach for a freshman specifically. It obviously worked for you, which is you showed at the end of the year. You're doing it again this year. Is that something people talk about guess hitting, and that's not the answer. You don't guess. You just kind of have an understanding, and you talk about not looking for one pitch. Do you look for location? Do you look for, hey, this guy, when you're hitting lefty, this guy's going to try to come in on me, so I'm looking at this part of the plate. If it's away from that, I'm just going to spit on it.
I would just say I got 4 at bats in front of me. I watch those and see whatever he's feeling first, and then just kind of go from there. I mean, every hitter he's going to attack differently. So I mean, I kind of just get a feel for what he has, and then I have my plan, and I just try and stick to that. I mean, just trying to get something I can drive, I would say. But just watching the game's a big thing for me. I'm always trying to watch as many bats as I can. Yeah. Especially, if they bring in a lefty right out of the pen, and, I get 2 at-bats to watch, and that's, 2 at-bats, I know what he's feeling or what he's not.
One of the other freshmen last year that really stepped up throughout the course of the year was Jake Brown. Mm-hmm. Feels like Jake Brown.
Jakey.
It feels like 2 things about Jake. One, he's on the show. Awesome.
Oh,
right?
He's crazy.
But it feels like he's kind of figured something out at the plate, right? Lefty homer. He's going oppo off the wall for doubles and triples. Celebrations at second base are
he's a character.
Yeah,
he's
fun.
A character. Yeah,
and you got to have that, right?
He's fun.
But have you seen have you seen him obviously take that next step? Y'all came in together.
Well, it'd be so easy for him to, obviously the way that last year ended, to him, wear that on his shoulders as opposed to, show his personality. It feels like he's bounced back in a different way.
And look, it's hard to hit off the bench. Mm-hmm. So, you're raking, you don't play the next day, he comes in 2 hits, right? And then lefty, homer.
Yeah, he's kind of just like the guy that, he doesn't care, what it is. He's just going to go out there and
just play ball.
Do his thing. Yeah, that's how he is. And, that's kind of the personality that he brings. he's always messing around, always doing something. Like I know him and Bear and Josh are always up to something. And then Jake will come in and he'll be like, I'm about to homer right here. Or like Josh will be like, yeah, I just hit a nasty homer. Like we're always doing something. But
I mean, you saw Bear last year. Remember, he looked at the camera. He's like, "I'm about to homer."
Yeah,
like
and he did.
That's the personality of the team, though. Like it feels like y'all are in that groove.
Yeah,
like you've got to know everybody a little bit more to where it's like we're pretty comfortable where we are because you batting where you are. Mm-hmm. Like, do you not feel like pretty lucky to be able to, like, I can bat 6th and 7th instead of 2nd or 3rd?
Yeah, I mean it takes the pressure off of those guys, and for me to be hitting down there, I mean
it's crazy.
I wouldn't say it's crazy, but it's just like that's just how deep of a lineup we have, and that's how good of a team we have this year. I mean, we got Stanfield hitting 9th, and he's on base, I would say, like 500. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just crazy.
I mean, you got him and you got Curiel, both lead off. I mean, it's
double lead off.
Yeah, you have two guys who can run, who can score from first on a deep single. It's happened already twice this year with Jake Brown.
I think just stealing bases all of a sudden.
Yeah, Bear Jones has got bags.
He's pretty fast.
Yeah, he is.
He's pretty fast.
Yeah, he is. Jay, you got something over there?
Yeah, Steven, man, you mentioned something earlier. I thought it was pretty interesting because I love hearing like different guys' approach on how they do different things. Lefty comes in the pin, or righty comes in out the pin. But let's say he faces two of the opposite hitter or whatever you are, and maybe this is working, but maybe it doesn't feel that way against the opposite arm. How do you approach that, and how do you go about that situation if say a lefty comes in, two lefties hit in front of you, and you're going to step in there right-handed? You're probably not going to get the same thing. How do you approach stuff like that?
I mean, I would say just building off, what those guys see. I mean, I trust my teammates, and whatever the pitch shape they saw, that's kind of what I try and attack. And we got good scouting reports and stuff. So I would say I analyze it, but you take certain pieces out of it and take what works for you. Sometimes you go in there blind and you just go hunt after something that you want, and that's the name of the game, I would say. But just getting a feel for the game, I would say, seeing all those at bats and kind of having almost 300 at bats already, you kind of get a feel for what people have and what pitches do and how they try and attack you. I mean, the scouting report's out there. It's not hidden for anybody.
Hey, when's the last time you got one of those scouting reports where there was like about 90-93 with a slider?
We got one. I remember we got one last year. It was like we were at Arkansas. He was like 99, 100, and then I was at second base, and he threw Mac Bingham a splitter. And I was like, what was that? Mac swung and missed, and we would make fun of him 2 weeks later after that pitch. And it wasn't on a scouting report. We were like, oh, my God, that was the nastiest pitch I've ever seen in my life.
There's nothing – now, y'all have more technology, but, there's nothing worse than having a scouting report and saying, we faced a guy from your school, Lloyd, Northwestern State.
No, that's not my school.
And he was a lefty, and his scouting report was this guy's 89, 91. And he was sitting 96, 97. Lefty.
They get the extra juice at Alex Box, man.
That's guy I ended up playing against that guy in the big leagues. He ended up making it up to the big leagues for a little bit, lefty. But it's like you get this one scouting report, and you're like, how are you 7 miles an hour off of what he's got? Like, I'm not even close to what he's throwing. Like, we
used to get those all the time. That's why I'm wondering. I'm like, man, used to get those a lot.
Let me ask you this: when you look at a scouting report, right? Mm-hmm. So we used to, look at it differently. Like they give you the pitching, the velo. This is 3 pitches. We used to call them the average white righty. The 90-mile-an-hour sinker baller was that. And that's what we called it. If you're a 90-mile-an-hour sinker baller with a little slider, it's an average white righty. We didn't have all of the analytics of like, hey, this guy's got some ride on it. You had to go there, see it, come back in and say, hey, we call it the invisible ball. Hey, this guy's got the invisible ball. It looks like it's, you're swinging through it. It's not throwing it hard. What does the scouting report look like now? Do y'all look at, hey, this guy's got like, he's got X amount of ride, or he's got this, or he's got that, or is it still, hey, this is fastball, slider, curve, fastball, slider, changeup at this velocity with a little run?
Yeah, I would say it's kind of basic still. You got all the analytics with the spin and everything now, but I mean, Coach Johnson and them like to just keep it basic and hey, he's got a little bit of ride here, or get on top of it, or hey, sink, let's just see him up. I would say it's still basic, but I mean, sometimes you do got to get in there and see it for yourself and be like,
at the end of my career, it used to be like I need to see that, but then I want to see how much induced vertical break was like the big number. Hey, this guy's got a 20 ride, we used to call it. It's like, all right, well then I know this guy's probably going to throw fastballs at the top of the zone, so let me go top to bottom. Hey, this guy throws super sinkers. All right, now I'm going to look.
Yeah, you gotta get it up. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the same thing as us. We kind of have the same exact plan as what you guys had right there.
Yeah.
Hey, let me ask you this too. You say you're a lot more comfortable, especially out of the gate, being at short and second, because obviously short's what you've done your whole life. You fucking around with any of these guys when you get the second or what?
Like the other teams, or what do you mean?
Yeah, hell yeah, not your own team, the other team.
Depends. A lot of people take it personal now these days.
You're right.
I mean, I remember some kid at Nichols. He took me out. I talked a little bit of crap, but that's about it. Well, just depends who it is. People get butthurt.
Wait, what'd you tell him? What'd you tell him?
I can't. Yeah, I can't say it on camera. Yeah, I can't say it on camera. But
I love that.
Yeah.
You gotta have that. You gotta have a little juice. You gotta have a little.
You do.
Shit talk. You do.
Yeah,
especially.
We
love a little banner. We like going back and forth.
Especially in the SEC, coming up with everything.
100%. Right. That was the next question. Your first true road test, right? Like you went to the tournament in Texas. Not really. I guess Dallas Baptist would have been probably your first road game. But the other three were neutral site games. This one's actually a road game at Texas against a top 10 team. How excited are y'all to really start that part of it? Right. Go on the road. I always like playing on the road because you're going in their house.
I love on the road, yeah.
And they talk shit.
Just that hostile environment. I love that.
No doubt. And then you get, you didn't get to play Tennessee a couple years ago whenever they came here. We talk about that all the time. There was a stretch in Alex Box where it never felt like Alex Box Stadium, right? You never really felt like you were in a big moment in a big game like that, and the crowd kind of erupted. Well, 2 years ago when they won the national championship, Tennessee came in. Thompson hit a double off the wall with the bases loaded to take the lead, and it was like, damn, that feels good. You get that again. How excited are y'all that you kind of feel like that's kind of back? You talk about shit talking. Yeah. That's a team right there that likes to do it.
Yeah, for sure. I would say Texas and Tennessee both like to talk. But, I mean, going on the road's fun. I love playing on the road. Hostile environment, just a new test, I would say. Yeah. Texas first time in the SEC. We played them last year in Houston. That was a super fun game. Had a lot of LSU fans there.
Yep.
But it's just another challenge. I mean, just another game trying to do what we do out there, and just keep it basic. I would say that's with everything. Just keep it simple with all of us, and go out there and compete. That's just our biggest thing.
Wait, can you expand on that a little bit? Because I don't think people, like a lot of people that don't get the chance to play college ball and or further, it's hard to understand like what it's like. Don't get me wrong. I think every ball player, there's a certain feeling of kind of being on a stage that's cool and it's fun to play in front of like a supportive crowd. Yeah. So playing at Alex Box, it's a special feeling. There's nothing really like it. But it's a different mindset and something completely different when you go on the road and you're just able to hush people. Can you kind of explain that mindset? Because I think it's hard for people to understand like why so many guys love going on the road to play.
Yeah, I mean, I would say getting beat at home is a pretty bad feeling. I mean, you guys played. You don't feel good when you get beat at home. That's kind of like a no-go. And to be able to beat teams at their place and walk in and do what you do is special. And it takes a certain team to do that and to overcome the challenges of being on the road in a hostile environment and dealing with other umpires that you normally don't have. It's the first time LSU's played a 3-game series there, so just another thing to add to it. But just you got to keep it basic when all that stuff's going on. Just get back to the simple. It's just a game, and just getting back to what you are. That's kind of the thing that we all lean on.
Yeah, no doubt.
I think they played a 3-game set against. It was neutral site.
Was it come in your trap and take over your trap?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we do that.
Yeah, y'all do. We like watching as fans. Obviously, I know y'all like doing it more as players.
Yeah.
I kept you a lot longer than I thought I was going to keep you tonight. I appreciate you coming on, dude. We we've been huge fans the last couple of years. Obviously, we're going to keep watching, continue to root for y'all. Good luck this weekend. Good luck the rest of the way. Hopefully, we have y'all back on at some point this year.
He needs to get some golf in this weekend.
Yeah, listen.
There you go.
Hey, you don't understand. This guy's never played golf, right? Doesn't play golf. All of a sudden moves to Texas. This man's on the golf course 3 times the last 2 weeks.
Dude,
trying to get better.
5
It's like,
days.
Unbelievable. Made fun of me playing golf when I was here.
This weekend, so who knows? I don't really know. You know?
Unbelievable. Yeah, maybe you'll probably see him this weekend.
You better be out there.
Are you going?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to get down there.
I wanted to try. I'm not gonna be able to make it, unfortunately. It's a far
I'm
trip.
trying to see if they'll let me be the bat boy.
Yeah.
Just sitting there. But dude.